This is going to be fun. Let's do it. All right. Just going to toss this stream out to Twitter quick. Let those folks that follow us over there know we're doing it. All right. All right, I got the tweet out about it. Let's I'm gonna try to bring in some comments here. From the video. I'm gonna try to show you guys what I'm talking about here. All right. So before I address anyone in the chat, I'm going to go over make some remarks on things I have seen in the comments on my latest video. Which, by the way, it's cool that people disagree. That doesn't actually bother me. I don't agree with a lot of the reasoning, but we'll get into that here. Let me see if this is working. I'm not sure if it is. Let me pull this up. Okay. It's a little not the way I want it to be. I guess we'll just put it up in the corner here and we'll just shrink this a little bit. And then I'll sorry, I know you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm making it easier to read comments for this topic. There we go. All right. Hey, folks. For those that are tuned in, I know we don't have a lot watching right now, but I might as well just get into it. It is a morning stream, which who knows how many people are going to tune in for a morning stream. But I wanted to address some concerns with with my latest video. For starters, I'm just going to go right through the comments because there was some misconceptions on the video itself. I'm not going to blame people for it because a lot of times they see the headline, they see the topic, they see the stance of that topic and headline, and then they just immediately go down to the comments and start typing away and don't really pay attention to what is said in the video, including what is said literally at the very beginning of the video. Like right after the little intro rolls, the very first thing is a disclaimer. And some people didn't get to that point. So let's just go through and address us. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about the people that agree with my thoughts and my opinions because that's not really. I mean, they agree with me. What am I here to debate about? I'm here to address people's concerns. Anyways, so like this is a perfectly fine thing right here. You know, where Michael Carrington says, for people like me without a reliable internet connection, streaming is not where I want to see things go. Once most rural areas in the U.S. have access to a decent ISP, then I may change my mind. I prefer physical anyway. Granted, I may be biased because of poor internet connection. See, one, he admits he has bias because he just doesn't have the internet to do it. And two, he doesn't seem like he's saying like it shouldn't exist. It's just he doesn't really care if it exists. It doesn't affect him. It's not, you know, anything he's really worried about. So this is fine. This is just, hey, look, I can't enjoy it, but it doesn't really mean that it's horrible. It's not something I can enjoy. That's fine. Monthly Gamer here says, what is the goal of this video? Because it seems like you're preemptively criticizing Nintendo on something they're obviously testing the waters with right now. One, did not criticize Nintendo. That was not anything I said. I never criticized Nintendo. I am advocating for Nintendo to hop on board to the method of play that doesn't have the most gleaming reception. I know people do not like streaming video games. Nintendo will do what they normally do in this aspect, let Microsoft lead. So the thing is people, there's a lot of people that obviously don't like the idea of streaming video games for whatever reason. Latency, internet issues, not owning games, fear-mongering over losing how games are currently delivered. The worry that maybe games won't be exclusive on, say, Switch, because like Nintendo could take their games and like make a little dongle to put in your TV, and you could stream directly to your TV now. You don't need to buy a Nintendo Switch, even though Nintendo's probably going to make sure you always own a Nintendo branded something. where their streaming services for their games anyways would be exclusive on things like the Switch or on things like a little dongle for your TV that's Nintendo branded, stuff like that. And considering that they already work with a company in NVIDIA that does game streaming on the Tegra X1 and the Tegra X2 on their NVIDIA Shield TV devices, obviously Nintendo already has a path with a partnership with the company to make a device like that for your TV for streaming services. So Nintendo would always keep it exclusive for their games anyways. But then the Nintendo nerd's like, hell no, internet is simply not in a place in several areas that would be viable yet for a huge portion of the world. Also, the Switch in particular being a portable console, it would render it unusable for any... Okay, so let me just address this point by point. Yes, the internet is not in place in many places in the world to get a service like game streaming to work functionally work the best. That doesn't mean it shouldn't exist. When Netflix originally came out with its streaming service, guess what? A vast majority of the United States couldn't enjoy it. A vast majority of the world couldn't enjoy it. You know what happened when Netflix came out with their streaming services? It pushed internet to get better. Until something's out there that demands internet infrastructure is better than it currently is, internet infrastructure has no reason to get better. So, if nothing else, video game streaming and the potential popularity of it could lead to internet infrastructure getting better. You need things that demand of the internet to get better. Otherwise, you're just going to stay stagnant. That's like saying, oh, yep, I don't have internet, ergo digital games shouldn't exist. In what world should digital games not exist because you don't have internet? You not being able to enjoy something does not mean that other people shouldn't be able to enjoy it. You know? Like, this is just a weird concept. As an example, let's just say, this is a weird hypothetical that doesn't actually exist. So, I know that this is strange right away, but I'm just using this as an example. I live in Zimbabwe or something, right? The only device that's legally allowed to be sold there is, say, a Nintendo Switch, right? Say PlayStation and Microsoft just can't get the products in, whatever reason. But Switch is allowed to be sold there. Right now, there's no way to play AAA third-party games in that country. Even if you have a good internet, even if you happen to be one of the few people with good internet, you can't play those games. Wouldn't it be nice if you could stream games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey in that country? And you would be able to if we supported such a notion. Now, again, hypothetical, doesn't exist. I don't even know what can be sold in Zimbabwe. I don't know a whole lot about that country. I was just throwing out a random country that just is just a place we don't talk about much. Because a lot of times when we're talking about video games, we're talking about major territories: UK, Japan, China, United States, Australia. We're talking about all these first world countries and their first world problems. Like a first world problem, oh no, I have internet, but it's not fast enough. Like that's a first world problem. There are places that don't have internet at all. Anyways, also it says the Switch in particular, being a portable console, render it unusable for any games based on streaming in many locations. Sure, it would be unusable in that you can't take the games anywhere. But no, I'm not advocating that physical games go away. I'm not advocating that streaming games replaces the physical space. Like, no one's advocating for that. Just like no one advocated for Netflix to replace DVDs and Blu-rays. Guess what? DVDs and Blu-rays are still a thing. You can still buy them for practically ever. In fact, you could buy... It's better than the video game space, because you have the video game space where some things are digital only. That doesn't really exist when it comes to traditional movies and TV shows. It does exist when it comes to things like, obviously, if Netflix has an exclusive series or whatever. They do sell some of them standalone, but most of them you have to have a Netflix subscription to watch them. But the point is that you go any movie you see out the movie theater is going to be on DVD and going to be on Blu-ray. You're going to have an option to buy it that way. Maybe not at your local store, but you can buy it online. You can buy it somewhere. There is a way to get a physical disc of that to enjoy. And that's the thing. Just because streaming becomes a thing doesn't mean physical games are dead. So, yes, like as an example, say Super Mario Odyssey is available to stream on your Switch or stream on a little device you can plug into your TV, a Shield-themed Nintendo console. Fine. Okay. How does that make it unusable for people on the go? If you own a Switch and you want to take Odyssey on the go, you buy the physical copy. You buy the digital copy. You buy the version of the game that lets you do that. All game streaming is an option. I think what gets lost on a lot of people is that video games is a very expensive hobby, very expensive medium, and it's getting more and more and more expensive the longer that this medium's around. AAA games now cost $60 plus DLC, plus pre-order bonuses, plus microtransactions, plus loot boxes, plus everything in between, right? Like, you buy a video game, you want to fully enjoy Odyssey, you got to buy at least the $60 version, plus at least the $10 optional download of the XP boost in order to actually make the game enjoyable. Like, video games are no longer just like $60. Now, there are games that are cheaper. There are, the digital only games, the indie games, and sure, those are going to continue to exist, and who knows if those are going to be, ready to support something like this. But obviously where it's going to start is in the AAA space, like we've already seen it start, where Odyssey was streaming in Chrome, it's streaming on Switch in Japan. We've seen Resident Evil 7 and it have a cloud service on various devices. There's no reason for us to really be against this as long as it doesn't replace physical games. Now, one could argue, well, because Odyssey is, through streaming, they have no reason to bring a physical copy to Switch. Well, Odyssey is not going to run on Switch. I hate being the bearer of bad news. It's just not going to run on Switch. The engine they are using for Odyssey is 100% incompatible with the Nintendo Switch. So there's no option to run it on Switch anyway. So when you're like, oh, it would be unusable for games based on streaming, guess what? You can't take the game with you anyways because it can't run on Switch. So what's the idea of being opposed to an option to play a game on a platform? What is the point to being opposed to this? You have an option to play the game on the platform, or you can't play the game at all. That's like what we're talking about here when it comes to Switch. You can play the game on the platform in some form, or just not play it. And guess what? In many cases, you could play the game for cheaper than you would on other platforms. Yes, you don't own it, and we'll get to addressing ownership in a hurry, But I'm baffled by this concept of it's like all the people that used to be so afraid of Netflix. Netflix is going to kill cable. Netflix is going to kill this. And guess what? Cable's still around. Satellite's still around. Movie theaters are still around. The only thing that ended up dying off was the the movie rental space. And even then, the movie rental space isn't actually dead. It evolved. Now it's kiosk-based. And kiosk-based is honestly a superior way of renting movies than a traditional place like Blockbuster or something like that. Kiosks actually are an improvement on something that we've previously enjoyed. So it didn't go away. It evolved. Netflix forced rentals of physical media for movies and shows and all that to evolve. Unfortunately, the kiosks do provide a very poor selection of video game rentals, and that's kind of why the video game rental space is completely dead, or almost dead. GameFly is still a thing. It's expensive, really expensive. Probably way more expensive than a streaming service would cost, but I digress. You get physical games, you get the option to keep those physical games for cheaper, and blah, 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 blah. So there's advantages and disadvantages to a service like GameFly. I would know. I've been using GameFly for 6 years. So I'm well-versed in the cost of GameFly. I'm well-versed in the positives and the negatives of such a service. And it's pretty pricey, let me tell you. It adds up quick. That being said, embracing game streaming, trying to compete with companies like Google and Microsoft and PlayStation and basically every place that has video games would ultimately be the death of Nintendo. They can't even get proper online gaming network running as of yet, never mind streaming. So the big thing here is that this wouldn't really be reliant on Nintendo's network. Nintendo already uses Google's servers, by the way, for voice chat. I don't know if you guys know this, if you're aware of this. Their Google Voice Chat, service is very, very interesting. Their Nintendo Voice Chat service, because it's using the Google servers, and this is why it doesn't really work in China, because China has blocked Google in some areas. So, but yeah, Nintendo already uses Google's servers. So they could easily partner up with Google again, or Microsoft, or anyone, because all these companies care about is getting money, right? So as long as Nintendo's willing to pony up, they can use their already established networks to run cloud gaming. It's not something that's unheard of. In fact, I've heard, I can't definitively prove this, but our cloud save backups are also in the Google servers. That is what I have heard. Not 100% certain on that. But what I have heard from people behind the scenes is that Nintendo's using Google's cloud already for pretty much anything that has to do with Switch. So they're already using this stuff anyways. There's no reason they can't continue to use it and expand those use cases, especially when the companies that own this stuff are already doing it themselves. And they don't care if other people use the technology. They care about money. If Nintendo's willing to give, a percentage of every game rental or whatever to Google to use their services, Google won't have an issue with that. Google might even help get the services up and running for them, especially Google that wants to be everywhere, not on every platform. They might require Nintendo has to put Chrome on their Switch, but I mean, we should have a web browser on Switch by now, should we? I don't know how that's a negative. Maybe you don't like Chrome, maybe you prefer a different web browser, but let me. I'm going to turn off the display right now. I'm going to read some of the stuff. We got a lot of people talking in the chat, so I want to address some of the chat. And then we'll get back to the comments if there's not enough concerns brought up in the chat. So I'm scrolling all the way up. Dynamic Kermit says, what if you're gaming in the cloud, then it starts rating? What then, huh? Is that a joke? Most people aren't using satellite internet, so that rating doesn't really affect anything. The only thing that would affect something is like a power outage. But even then, like, outside of, gaming on your phone or playing the Switch, as long as the battery's still alive, I mean, a power outage affects everything anyways. The Mind of Thomas says, my internet sucks where I live. I can't even play games online sometimes without having everyone else in my house. And CenturyLink has a monopoly on the market, and they refuse to change. I know, that sucks. You know what'll make it get better? Making it so you can't actually enjoy certain things because the internet's not good enough. That's going to cause competitors to come and be like, fine, you don't want in on this market? We're going to come in on this market, and we're going to take it over from this company and get rid of the monopoly. Or it's going to force the monopoly to have to improve. There's a monopoly in my town right now for cable internet. There's a whole bunch of DSL providers, but DSL is way slower than cable. So we have one cable internet provider in my area. My cable internet provider for the past 3 years has made things faster and better. We went from 30 megabyte down to 60 to 100 to now I have 400 down. And the reason this happened is because fiber is starting to encroach in an area not too far away from where I live. And I don't live near a city, a major metropolitan area. I live in literally like the middle of Wisconsin. The most rural of rural areas you could really be in, where we have cows and cornfields everywhere, right? This is like what I grew up in where I live. And yet, fiber has a penetration within a radius that is at least semi-close enough that it forced my cable provider to provide better out of fear that fiber is going to come to town. And if fiber comes to town, they want to make it so I'm happy enough that I don't care that fiber's in town and I don't switch. I'm probably still going to switch, but that's besides the point. And I don't know if fiber's ever going to be here in my lifetime. It might never come, but the fear of it caused it to get to them to make the services better. Now, again, this obviously is lucky in my area. Not true of every area. Fiber might be hundreds and hundreds of miles away from where you are, and so it's not forcing anyone to get better. But when people complain to their ISP and they're like, look, I can't enjoy Netflix, I can't enjoy this because you're not fast enough, that's going to cause alternative solutions to come in that work around all of the monopoly contracts and cause internet infrastructure to improve. It's been proven. Look how much internet infrastructure has gotten better since Netflix became a thing, since YouTube, since video streaming became a thing. Seriously, we used to all be rocking 56K modems, and if you had cable internet, oh my gosh, you were so lucky. It was super slow, but it was faster than a 56K modem. It was faster than DSL. But what made it get better? People wanting better experiences while streaming content. That made internet services get better in first world countries. Again, I can't talk about other countries that are dealing with way more issues than what obviously first world countries are dealing with. Let's see here. Brandon Retro said, I love the idea of streaming, but like you said, options are always better. I want to have the option to do that's what I'm talking about. I literally addressed this at the very beginning of the video. I say, look, I'm not advocating streaming replace physical games. I'm not advocating that streaming replace digital games. That's not at all what I'm advocating. You guys remember when the fear with digital games was like, we're never going to lose the physical games because of digital. Have the physical games gone anywhere? Did we lose the physical medium because people can buy games digitally? No, we didn't. Heck, digital games are cheaper in many regards, smarter purchasing in many regards. Didn't stop physical games from being around. Hasn't stopped physical games from selling millions and millions and millions and millions upon millions of copies worldwide every year. Nothing stopped the physical game medium. It just gave people an additional purchasing option. And that's what game streaming does. It just gives people another way to play. It doesn't replace the current ways. Just like Netflix didn't replace Blu-rays, DVDs, and movie theaters. It didn't replace basic cable. It's just an option, another option in the marketplace. That's all I'm advocating for here. An option in the marketplace for those that can enjoy it. I know not everyone can, and that's the exact reason that it's not going to replace physical games and digital games. Physical games and digital games are not going anywhere so long as there's a large enough market that wants to buy physical games and digital games. You know why physical games will go away? Because there's not a large enough market to buy them, right? If there's still a large enough market to keep making DVDs, let alone Blu-rays, right? There's still a big enough market to do that for most videos and TV shows. How small of a market do you think there needs to be for physical games to go away? What? Only 1,000 copies selling in your state or something? Like it would be an astronomical drop off in purchases that would make physical games go away. Look at the overall negative reaction to my video. There's a large enough contingent of people that will never buy anything but physical or digital, or just physical or just digital, will never support streaming, will never go the route of streaming, that'll ensure that physical and digital games remain around practically for decades, well beyond most of our guys' lifetimes. So just because game streaming is a thing that some people can enjoy doesn't mean that like you need to be afraid of losing your physical and digital games. You're still going to have them. And I said that at the very beginning of the video. Yes, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is available in the cloud experimentally in Chrome and on Switch, right? Those are the two big things that Assassin's Creed Odyssey is on the cloud in. Guess what? If it's not in the cloud, we don't have Assassin's Creed Odyssey on Switch because it can't run on Switch. If you don't want to play it in the cloud through Chrome browsers on your PC, guess what? They sell it physical and digital, believe it or not. Yes, physical and digital on PC. I literally saw a physical copy of Assassin's Creed Odyssey for PC at the store the other day. Like, it's a thing. It still exists. The all digital thing with PC didn't even kill off physical games for PC. Can you believe that? They still sell games physically for PC. Still a thing, even though most computers don't even come with disk drives anymore. They still sell those discs, those CD-ROMs, those DVDs that have physical games on. Crazy, right? Like, if it can't even be killed on PC, how is it going to suddenly be killed for the whole of gaming? It's not. It's just an option. It doesn't replace the already existing options to buy. What it does is provide options in areas where you wouldn't have them, such as on Switch, being able to play these games that aren't capable of running on Switch. And yes, I get the fear. The general fear is that it'll mean developers won't need to worry about, like, oh, are we really going to get Wolfenstein, or Doom Eternal or whatever on Switch if instead of porting it to Switch, they could just stream it. Or they can offer a streaming version and still have the physical version. They can do both. They can do both in double dip. They don't need to sacrifice one for the other. And as long as there's a strong enough base buying the physical games, they don't have to. The only reason that you should worry about losing the physical space is because you and others will stop buying them because of streaming. I'm not going to stop buying physical games just because I can stream some of them. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Streaming has yet to replace a physical medium anywhere. Heck, how long have we been illegally downloading music and streaming music, right? We've been doing it for, I don't know, decades. Still can buy CDs for practically every artist out there. CDs, like, are still a thing you can buy. Isn't that crazy? If it's not killing it for any other entertainment medium, why would it kill it for video games? The medium that has the strongest physical and digital presence for individual game purchases or individual media purposes, period, in the entire, a multi-billion-dollar industry. Multi-billion-dollar industry. Why do you think streaming is going to kill it when it couldn't kill it for any other entertainment medium? Streaming has not killed any other physical or digital individual purchase in any other medium. So why would it kill it for video games? You're fear-mongering. You're afraid of something that could cause something else to happen that has never proven in the history of physical medium, in the history of media, to actually happen. Everyone who's been afraid of this over the past 20, 30 years has been afraid for nothing. Has been afraid for absolutely nothing. You could still rent movies. You could still stream songs and buy CDs and buy individual songs and still illegally down them, for crying out loud. All of it still exists. None of it's gone away. You can still go to concerts, still go to the movie theater, still get basic cable and satellite. In fact, streaming services have made those services even cheaper. If nothing else, streaming games might make physical games even cheaper. It's been nothing but positive gains since we allowed streaming to invade all of our other media sectors. So why are we afraid of it with video games? We have a history, a proven history that streaming does not harm the physical space, does not harm the individual digital space. It has never harmed it for any other medium. All it has done is made everything more affordable for everyone across the board. So why are we so afraid? Is it because we're just too traditional? We can't wrap our minds around this concept that, hey, just because I can't stream games, or I don't want to stream games, you don't have to! You don't have to get Netflix either. You don't have to pay for iTunes. You don't have to get Google's streaming service. You don't have to even stream music. Go to your local Walmart or go to Amazon or whatever and buy the CD for your artist. You can still burn and mix your own CDs. None of the things that I had when I was a kid, except for tapes, because that medium just got replaced by a superior one in CDs, can I not do today. I can still go buy a boombox, put a CD in it, and play it. Sure, MP3 players are more convenient, but it didn't actually replace CD players. CD players are still a thing. A lot of cars still come with CD players pre-installed. They still sell CD players for your car. They still sell DVD and Blu-ray players. They still make them brand new. They're just cheaper. Remember when Blu-ray came out and it was like $500 to get a Blu-ray player? Now you can get them for under $100. Yeah, Blu-rays haven't really gotten any cheaper yet, admittedly. They're like $20, $30 depending on the movie. DVDs have come down in price a bit, but the point is that none of these mediums were replaced because streaming exists. So why are we afraid about it happening with games? I don't understand this fear people have. We have evidence, direct evidence, that this streaming stuff hasn't killed any other media, hasn't made any other media worse. It's just providing options. More options, the better. Because you know what I love about options? More people get to enjoy video games than they do currently. We all agree that video games are an amazing space, right? It's a great outlet for emotions. It's a great outlet to escape from the world. It's a great outlet for entertainment. It makes us laugh. It makes us cry. It makes us get emotional in all the right ways. It can provide fear in our lives. If you're someone that likes fear, like with horror games, it can provide lots of excitement. It can make you feel sad because of a story or a character, and it can also excite you. It can make you happy. Video games do something that a lot of other mediums don't. They're interactive. So it makes us feel like we're part of the experience in many cases. Not with every game, of course. Some games are different, puzzle games, but whatever. You get my point. A lot of games do that. And none of that's going away because game streaming is a thing. All it's going to make it do is that more people get to enjoy our medium. We shouldn't be afraid. We shouldn't be afraid. Video games are already mass market. We should not be afraid of bringing more people into the fray. This is the same reason. It's the reason I think some people get so critical of Nintendo with things like Wii. Oh, Wii isn't for me, so ergo it shouldn't exist. Like, why? What's wrong with bringing people in who don't traditionally play games? There's nothing wrong with that. Let them come in. Let them experience the medium we love so much. Let them understand it more. You know how much I wish my own mother understood video games more? She still to this day, tells me that video games are for kids. She hates what I do on YouTube. She hates that I still play video games. She thinks it's a waste of my time and a waste of my life. She has no idea how this space works. She doesn't feel this way about movies. If I was a professional movie review critic on YouTube, she wouldn't feel that way. She wouldn't feel that way if I was doing it with TV shows. She respects those mediums. Or with music. She respects those mediums. She sees how important those mediums are and how it extends well beyond children. She doesn't see that with video games. Because video games are still massively misunderstood. But you know what will help people understand it better? Making them more readily available for a cost that doesn't break the bank. Right now, video games are such an expensive medium to get into. Having a streaming service available that makes it easier for more people to get into it is nothing but a positive for me. Especially when we have a history showing physical is not going away and digital is not going away, nor are standalone hardware boxes going away. It's not going anywhere. It's not replacing anything. It's just giving another option. All right, let me see what some other people are saying here. Let me see here. So PB mentions that he walked into his Best Buy yesterday and they had 10 aisles of Blu-rays and video games. Now they only have one major household appliances and 2 cardboard kiosks with discount games and movies. Yes. The one thing that does happen, and this has happened at Walmart as well and many other retailers, is that obviously the walking into a store and buying a game, walking into the store and buying a movie or a CD is a bit more difficult. A lot of times you have to turn online, which sucks for people who don't have internet, to buy this stuff. But in the places that don't have internet, your local stores are still going to carry all this stuff, right? My local Best Buy, even though my local Best Buy is like a half hour away and they actually have fiber in that area, still has a whole bunch of aisles of physical CDs and movies. The reason it still does is because people are still buying them, right? They cater to the market. If your area is heavily into buying that stuff, they're going to keep stocking it because people are buying it. Why get rid of something that makes you money? Well, they have shrunk down. They shrunk down their computer section actually because I don't think their computer area at Best Buy in my area is doing very well. But that's just a customizing to the local market. That's going to happen. But the physical stuff still exists. You can still buy it. You might not be able to get it at your local Best Buy, say in person. But you know what Best Buy will tell you when you ask an employee when you're like, "Hey, I'm trying to find this. Oh, we don't carry that anymore. However, we can order it for you right now in store for you to pick up in 2 days." That's the brilliance that's happening now is even if the stores don't have the items like available in the store, they'll order it for you to pick up in store even if you don't have internet. They'll do it for you. They'll take care of all that for you. Times are just changing. That's just the retail space changing. You can thank things like Amazon and stuff like that for making those changes, right? That's not really a streaming change. There are other better, cheaper ways to get these products. So these stores are having to shrink down as more and more people buy the products through those means. However, the stores will still get you the product. Like I went in the other day looking for a 2700X CPU. They don't carry it in the store, but I talked to one of their employees. They can order it for me, and they could have had it in the store the next day if I really wanted to get it. Just wait one day, and I could have got it from Best Buy. I don't have the money for it. I was just doing price checking, but the point is that they can still get you the physical medium. They can still get it there, even if they don't have it in the store. They probably should do a better job of advertising. They can do that. They should probably put up signs saying, "Hey, don't see what you want. Ask an employee, and we can help you get anything." That's just my marks on Best Buy, in my experience, anyways. Same true at Walmart. Same true at every retailer I've been to where they lacked a physical of something I wanted. They just ordered it for me. I got it like a day or two later. And I only did that. I'm a savvy consumer, so I only did that because it happened to be a cheaper sale or deal than it was like on Amazon or something. Because Amazon doesn't honor like, oh, it's cheaper at Walmart. Amazon doesn't care. They're not one of those companies that will honor the cheapest price you find somewhere else. Walmart is, although they argue a bit with online sales. But Brandon Russell says, my biggest worry is that companies like Bethesda won't bother trying to make a Switch version of the game if they can just stream it. Then I won't be able to have it on the go. I don't think that's a concern you need to worry about. I think, as has been proven with every other physical medium, if it's possible to get the game to work on it and provide that and make money, they're going to do it. Bethesda's obviously made money on Doom and Wolfenstein 2, or we would not be getting Doom Eternal. So Doom Eternal would still come and still be available through streaming. Right? It would still be a duality. It would still exist. The only reason they would stop is if it wasn't profitable. And if it's not profitable, you weren't going to get the game anyways. Like, I'll give you an example. Activision doesn't think Call of Duty will be profitable on Switch, so we're not getting it. It's not because they can't make it run. They don't think it would be profitable, so we're just not going to get it. Now, if there was a streaming service available and they had to do minimal effort to get it on Switch, sure, we'd get it at least in some form. But the alternative is we're just not getting it at all. Like that's what people forget. The alternative is we just don't get the games. Because that's what's already happening. We're just not getting a lot of these games. Either because they can't run on the platform or they don't think there's a big enough, consumer base to get it on the platform. And they might even realize they release Call of Duty as a streaming service on Switch in the West, and all of a sudden they realize, hey, we have 4 million people playing it. We obviously next time around should release a physical version because it'll be more profitable. And it will be, because how many of those people that try Call of Duty let their subscription lapse after a month, right? Oh, we only got them for $5. Well, I want to get them for that full fat 60 plus DLC. Better release that physical version next year. The Mind of Thomas. Nobody here is against streaming at all, but it might make devs lazy and put every game through streaming instead of taking time to make a port that works offline. Didn't happen in any other medium. It's not going to happen in video games. The thing is when you say nobody here is against streaming at all, that's a lie. Go to the comment section on my latest video. I'd say probably 70% of the comments are vehemently opposed to video game streaming, even as an idea, let alone as it being executed. It doesn't matter; it's happening anyways. I mean, this is one thing we also forget: video game streaming is coming. Like it or not, it's coming. It's already here in many regards, and it's just going to get more and more and more. Just like when digital games started small, got bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what's going to happen with game streaming. It's already coming, and you know why it's coming? Because enough people that can use it are using it because it's convenient and cheaper. It's a viable method of video game delivery. So it's coming anyways. We can argue how it should come, how it should be delivered, how it should be monetized. We can definitely have conversations about that, but we shouldn't be talking about how it shouldn't exist at all. Why? Because you're selfish? You're still going to get your selfish way. You're still going to get what you want. So why can't other people get what they want? Let's see here. Did you try Odyssey on Switch through Cloud? If you did, Odyssey's not available through Cloud. I was just giving a hypothetical. Like, if it was available through Cloud. Obviously, Odyssey's not, like, it's an exclusive on Switch, digital or physical. Most areas don't, it doesn't matter if most areas have stable enough internet. Oh my gosh. I addressed this already. It doesn't matter if most areas don't have stable enough internet. This isn't replacing the current way we get games. Guys, streaming games does not replace physical media. It does not replace digital media. It is an option. It is not a replacement. Stop viewing it as a replacement. It hasn't replaced it in any other media. It's not going to replace it. It hasn't replaced it in the movie, and it hasn't replaced it in the movie and TV show. Hasn't even replaced basic cable, for crying out loud. Hasn't replaced music, CDs. None of this has been replaced. It's not going to replace the current way we get games. So it doesn't matter if most areas, who cares? They can continue to get games the way they always have. That's not going away. The fact that most areas don't have it, in fact, is ensuring you it's not going away. What you are saying is ensuring that game streaming doesn't take away physical and digital. You are literally telling me right now that because most people don't have fast enough internet for it, that means that physical and digital is not going anywhere. You are providing the argument for game streaming to exist. Because for those that can do it, they should be allowed to. The people that have the internet to do it shouldn't be told they don't have the option to do it. Because some people can't. So what? Everyone can be happy. Literally everyone can be happy here. It's fear-mongering. People are fear-mongering over something they don't understand and don't believe in. That's all it is. People used to fearmonger over Netflix as well. People used to fearmonger over illegal music downloading and then streaming services for music. People used to fearmonger over this stuff all the time, and guess what? It didn't actually replace anything. Nintendo can't even get basic online right. I already addressed that. I talked about how they're already using Google servers for a lot of their stuff. They could just keep partnering with Google to make it happen. Best Buy is too expensive for me. Yeah, I mean, that's really what's killing retail stores in general is just their pricing. Online pricing are undercutting retail stores huge time. That's just an issue between online stores and retail. There's just a lot of undercutting happening, causing the idea you can get the product right now today, pick it up and walk out of the store to not be as appealing as, you know what, I can wait a day and get it for like $10 cheaper. That's the problem with stores like Best Buy, and even Walmart runs into it at times. We're like, it's just cheaper to get it online than it is to get it at the store, and it's hard for retail stores to do that when they have to have staff on things. They have to have stealth shockers. They have to have cashiers, all this stuff that's handled automatically on online. So it's tough. It's tough for retail to compete with online. That's for sure. It's tough for retail. But that's across the board. It's not really just a video game thing. That's literally across the board. I was in a Best Buy over in Minnesota last week that hardly had any video games. And guess what? Streaming doesn't exist. It's because no one was buying them from Best Buy. You can still get them, and they'll order it for you, and you can have it the next day or within a couple days. But, yeah, like people in that area just don't buy video games enough to keep it in stock. So they have a small video game section. That's just the reality of online versus physical when it comes to retail. Let's see here. Of any platform of all, Why would I stream on a portable platform? I just use a browser-based Google option coming soon at that rate. That's the end of your argument, the Nintendo nerd, because the Switch isn't just a portable. Hello. I hope I don't knock any of my equipment down. Hey, look. Look, my Switch. It's hooked up to a TV. Oh, no, because I could take it on the go, I shouldn't have the option to play it on my TV? Is that what you're trying to... Are you trying to argue right now? That because Switch is portable, I shouldn't have the option to play games on my TV? Then screw it. You know what, Nintendo? Destroy the dock. Make the dock not exist. You know what, Nintendo? How about you just make it so I can know what? Like, just release an update that bricks your Switch anytime you play on your TV. Because you know what? Because people like playing it portably, I shouldn't have additional options when it's on TV. You know what? Why over? You know, hey, Nintendo. Why when I dock my Switch can I play at 1080p but can't do it on the go? You know what? Screw it. Brick my Switch because I'm playing it on the TV. You know what? Don't give me additional options. Don't give me higher resolution, higher frame rate, higher clock speeds. Nah, don't give me better internet connection speed because I can directly plug in through a wire. Nah, don't give me any of that when I hook up. You know what? Take away all the benefits of playing on my TV with my Switch because it's portable. Hey, because it's portable, don't have any additional benefits but because I can play it on my TV. Such a bullshit argument. Complete bullshit argument. And you know it's a bullshit argument because the Switch isn't just a portable. You personally may only use it portably, and guess what? Game streaming won't matter for you. It could just not, like, game streaming could be this big thing that exists, and you could just not use it. No one's making you use it. But should I have the option right now in the West to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey on my TV with my Switch? You're goddamn right I should. There's no reason that Japan can have it and I can't, except for the fact that we're so vehemently opposed to it. Yes, they have better internet infrastructure, but guess what? I have good enough internet to stream the game here. I know, because I did it in my Chrome browser. I have good enough internet to stream Assassin's Creed Odyssey over my Switch in my house. But because of people like you, I shouldn't have that option? I should just not be able to play the game at all? I should have to go out and spend $400+ on another platform? Or $60+ on my thing when I could just spend $20 and play it for a few months and be good? That I don't care if I own that game because a new Assassin's Creed's always coming out, so it doesn't matter to me if I own it. It just matters that I get my satisfaction in playing it and being done with it. It's not like Odyssey and Zelda for me. I'm not going to go back to it when I'm done. But because it's portable, forget having additional options when you hook it up to your TV. Hey, guess what? I watch Hulu. I actually have Hulu streaming TV now. Should I not be able to enjoy that when I dock it at home on my TV? Should I not be able to have that luxury because when I'm on the go, I can't watch Hulu because I don't have it hooked up to the internet? Should I not be able to purchase games digitally even though I can only do that when I'm connected to the internet? Should I just not be able to enjoy half of the functionality of my system in my house that I currently have because it's portable? Get out of here with that argument. It is such a garbage argument. Such a garbage argument. And you know what's you know what's funny? Next year, right here on my phone, I'll be able to play the latest Xbox One games. Right here. Grab an Xbox controller. I don't have one right next to me. Whatever, I'll just use my Switch one. Grab a controller, Bluetooth it to your phone, and guess what? I can prop my phone up, and as long as I am connected to a fast enough internet connection somewhere, I can play it right on my phone. I could probably stream it off my phone to my damn TV if I wanted to. And that's happening next year. But no, screw Nintendo. Nintendo shouldn't do it because their system's portable. God. Yeah, why use technology that's already existing? Why? Why bother? Because you can't use it when you're on the go? Who cares? I'm not looking to play these games on the go. You think I'm looking to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey on the train? Of course not. I'm just looking to play the game at all without having to spend extra money on other hardware. And guess what? If I care so much about having it physically, I could buy the hardware and buy the physical copy and do it anyways. So I already have an option to do that if I want. What's wrong with having other options? Absolutely nothing. You're just afraid. You're afraid of what might happen. You're not looking at the benefits of it happening. You're just like, because this might happen or this might. I can tell you what will happen. Games will be more affordable for more consumers on more devices than ever before. That's a guarantee. I will have more options to play more games on Switch than I currently do today. That's a guarantee. That will happen. All the mites in the world, we can backlash against that. We can boycott against that. We can want those things to be better. We did it with Netflix. We did it with things like Spotify. We demanded those services get better, and they listened. Because you know why they listened? It made them more money to do so. It got them more consumers. There's a history here, a pre-existing history, where we can control how this plays out. We shouldn't be afraid of something new. We shouldn't be afraid, especially when that new doesn't replace what we already have. It's just in addition to. In addition to physical games and digital games, we can have streaming games. In addition to. Not instead of. Let's see here. Norton wants me to tell people about the pros and cons of GameFly. The pros of GameFly are pretty simple. It depends on how many games you want to rent out. I think the max they let you rent out is 3 at a time, and you end up paying like $30+ a month for it. You rent them out. They send you physical copies, whether it's for Switch, 3DS, Xbox, PlayStation, whatever. They send you the physical copies. They come in the mail, and the benefit there is, one, you're only paying the $30, and you have 3 new games every single month if you want. You can keep the games as long as you want. There's no hidden fees. You're just paying that $30 a month. It's a service, so you can keep the games as long as you want. If you rent a game and you play it, and you decide, I love this game, I don't want to give it back, you can then actually buy the game from GameFly for a discounted price. Like right now, if I rented Breath of the Wild from them, I think I can get it. I think I can buy it from them for $30. So I rented it, tried it, loved it, want to keep it. I go on my GameFly account and be like, hey, I want to keep this game. Then they'll be like, okay, that's going to cost you $30. So you get it for a discounted price. That's the huge benefit of GameFly is you're not buying, I got 3 $60 games in 1 month to try and play and beat, and I can keep them for cheaper if I want. That's like the huge benefit of GameFly. The downside is it could take a week plus to ship. If you forget to ship a game back and let your subscription expire, they will charge you the full price for the game to your account. So, you go to renew your GameFly and you're like, oh crap, I owe $60+ and there's nothing you can do about it. You can re-up your subscription, but you won't be able to return that game anymore. In addition, it's just expensive. It's just expensive. And you're dealing with a physical medium. You scratch the disc and send it back, they might charge you. There's a lot of issues. It's the same issues Netflix really had with their DVD rentals. It's a lot of hassle. It's a lot of pain. But there is, for people who like physical, it has that advantage. You can get them cheaper. Downside is you're not going to get a box. They don't send them in. They send them in envelopes. They don't send them in like game cartridge boxes. So again, you can own the physical game, but you won't actually have the box, which a lot of people like having the box. I don't know if you guys can see in the background that whole. You see the rows on that black shelf where I have it looks like another Switch, but it's just my Switch backplate. The row above that, all those things that are shining back off the light, those are all physical Switch games. Every single one of them. I like physical games. I love physical games. I have digital games as well. And I've streamed games. I like all of the above. I'm someone that's like, you know what? I don't have the money this month to buy Super Mario Party and to buy Starlink Battle for Atlas. I don't have like an extra, $100 for that. But you know what I do have? I got an extra 20. You're telling me for $20 I could play those games on a streaming service? Hell yeah. That's way better, and I can always buy them later when I can afford them. I just don't get it. People are just fear-mongering over the unknowns. So the Mind of Thomas says, also streaming movies is different. How? Because most of the time you can watch it once or twice and maybe come back to it, and you can't do that with games because... games, you're always coming back to this. That is not true. I want all of you to sit down and think about how many video games you bought in your life or have owned at one point that maybe you even got when you were a kid. Just think about it. Think about the number of games you at one point in your life put your hands on and were in possession of that you could actively play. Just think about it. Because I know for me personally, it's in the thousands. I've touched and played well over 5,000 games. How many of those 5,000 games do I actively replay? Over and over again. When you talk about always coming back, I don't always come back to my 5,000 plus games I played in my life. Do you? Does anyone? You might have a handful that you do, and for those handful, buy the physical. No one's taking that physical away from me. Say I play Assassin's Creed Odyssey over streaming on Switch, right? And I love it. And I see it as a game that I'm just going to infinitely replay, right? That's just the way I feel. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go buy an Xbox or a PlayStation or buy the physical version on PC or build a PC to play the physical version. That's what I'm going to do on a game that I infinitely want to replay. I'm going to go take advantage of the fact that streaming isn't the only delivery method for this stuff. That's what I'm going to do. What are you going to do? A library of 5,000 plus games I've played in my life. I've maybe, going back before Switch, because Switch is rather new. Going back before Switch, I replayed some NES games on the service. First time I've touched those in 20 plus years. I think Age of Empires, a game that I played when I was a kid, I replayed it once, and that was like 4 years ago. Guys, we don't actually do what you think you do. You are not infinitely replaying games, because you know what? If you were infinitely replaying games, you would stop buying new games. You would. If I sat back and for the 5,000 games I played, if I infinitely replayed them and always replayed them and always went back to them, why the hell do I need new video games? I have 5,000 video games I've played. Why the hell do I need new ones? I could just replay the 5,000 I've already have. Doing that alone will take me to the end of my life. The 30 years I've spent gaming, I could just replay all those games for the next 30 years. Then my hands will fall off and I won't be able to game anymore and I'll be retired. But reality is that's not how we do things. That's not how a majority of consumers do it. Guess what? The used game market is as healthy as it's ever been. Why is it? Because people don't infinitely replay their games. They're always getting new games. They play games and they move on. That's the way the majority of consumers consume content. Yes, you can rewatch TV shows and movies. A majority of people watch it once and move on. And for those that want to watch it infinitely or play it infinitely, like Breath of the Wild, to me, that's an all-time game. That's my favorite of all time. I'm going to own the physical of it. I'm going to own the physical copy. Just like I can for any other media, any other device, any other movie, TV show, or whatever. I can just buy it physically and enjoy it forever. Well, or as long as the device as long as your DVD player, Blu-ray player, Switch lasts, of course. Because obviously when that dies, you gotta get a new one. And Switch it's actually a little weird in the video game market with physical, because once they move on, they stop making Switches. It's not like DVD players and Blu-ray players are done being made. They still make them. So it's kind of weird with the physical medium in video games, because once the Switch is done being made, unless there's a system that comes out that's backwards compatible with those physical carts, one day those physical carts might not even be playable anymore, because there won't be any Switches left to play them on. But that's a concern that I don't think is going to happen in my lifetime. Just like I think NESs, there'll still be enough playable NESs for probably the next 30 years for me not to worry about playing physical NES carts. A lot of companies that do data backup use Google. Yeah, I mean they do. Google's just convenient. They have a really great setup for it, and they are more than willing to work with a lot of other companies. They'd be willing to work with if Nintendo wanted to offer games in the cloud, Google would be like the first in line raising, hey, use us. Use us. Hey, look, we're already doing something like that. Use us. Google would be right there. And that's why I could trust Nintendo. I don't trust Nintendo with their ability to offer voice chat, with their ability to make a compelling argument to spend money on their streaming service. But I still doesn't mean it shouldn't be there as an option. I don't think I would use a streaming service that has Mario and Zelda and stuff on it, but someone might. Someone might pick up a Switch, and instead of dropping $500+ on all the Switch games they want, be willing to spend $20 a month and get all those games right now. I'm sure there'll be millions of people willing to do that. I mean, we're talking about a community where people love getting stuff for free and then spending microtransactions on it, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. That's the reality we live in. This is even cheaper than that. Granted, you're going to have some companies that will abuse it, but they're abusing everything anyways. Right? You're going to have EA where they'll be like, yeah, you can spend $10 a month. Or actually, they have this on PC. It's like $14 a month, and you can play any game. Granted, it's downloaded. It's more like Game Pass than streaming. But, companies are going to do that, and then they're going to still microtransaction you to death. Of course that's going to be a thing. But that's already a thing. Game streaming is not going to make that any worse or any better. It's already happening. We, as consumers, have to rebel against it. What scares me about Assassin's Creed Odyssey is that the game's infinitely better if you spend $10 extra. Do I care about $10 extra on Odyssey? Probably not. I think the game would probably be worth $70 as long as I got the XP boost. But it's weird that you can pre-order and do all these higher end versions of Odyssey and not get that included. That to me bothers me. But it's weird. It felt like the game was built around that XP boost. It sucks because apparently Odyssey is just a fantastic game. If you buy the XP boost. It's just... For everything Ubisoft does I love, they always do stuff I hate as well. And I hate that. Odyssey looks fantastic. Love it. How they're making you level up in it, hate it. Love Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Hate how they delivered certain content in The Division. I mean, for every great thing they do, they always take a step backwards. Nintendo's the same way in many regards. All right, so we got a lot of comments here, which is expected. Enrique Pinero says, I have little confidence with the availability of internet, especially with issues of net neutrality being threatened and companies always trying to monopolize the internet. You can have little confidence. Keep buying physical and digital. No one's taking away your physical and digital games. Just because game streaming exists doesn't mean you have to use it. Is this getting through with people? Because game streaming exists, does not mean because Netflix exists does not mean you need to use Netflix. Hell, you don't even need to use Netflix to watch Netflix series and shows. Netflix even sells a lot of their movies and their shows physically. Did you know that? Did you know a lot of their shows and their movies are available to buy physically? You don't even need to have Netflix. Yeah, you got to order it online, but it's still physical. You still get a physical copy in the mail. And net neutrality is mostly a thing we worry about in the U.S. It sucks. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to go anywhere. The more streaming services that rely on an open and free internet the way it is now, quote unquote free, we all have to pay for it, or someone has to pay for it. The more services there are like this, the less and less likelihood of net neutrality going away, because these companies are going to fight for it not to go away, because they want to be available on everything. They don't want to be blocked. Like Netflix, can make oodles and oodles of money partnering with Google for Chrome. But they're going to hate that they're not on Firefox and that they're not on Bing and that they're not on Safari. Like, they're going to hate that. They'd rather be available on everything. So they'd rather net neutrality exist. The people that want net neutrality to not exist are the ISP providers. They want to start piecemealing your internet like a cable service. Which, fine, that's the way cable works. Internet doesn't work that way, and that's what they want to do. So as long as these companies don't want that to happen and they're fighting back, the more and more companies fighting back, the higher likelihood that that's never going to happen. I mean, we were so afraid that net neutrality was going to go down because of, Ajit Pai, and lo and behold, it didn't go down. Because no one person or one small group of people can decide we're not going to have it. It takes a lot. It goes through a lot of phases for us to get rid of it. And it ultimately didn't pass the next phase. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about us losing net neutrality anytime soon. Not anymore, anyways. I was at one point, and then I realized after what Ajit Pai did, and then watching what happened with everything after the fact, that it's not going away. There's too much money with Netflix and Google and all these companies that aren't going to let it happen. They're chucking too much money at lawyers and everything to ensure. We want to be available on everything. We don't want to be piecemealed. Yeah, it's great we have a contract here, but then we don't have a contract with everyone and we have less consumers. They don't want that. They make less money doing that. Imagine that Google search was boycotted to only people that have Spectrum internet. God. Google would never allow that to happen. Ever. Ever. They would pay billions and billions of dollars to ensure that doesn't happen. Probably trillions of dollars, to be honest, over time. So Michael Carrington says it's not about internet service providers not provide high enough download or upload speeds. There are a lot of rulers that can just not get affordable internet. That's fine. So buy games physically. It's not going away. This doesn't replace physical games. Why do people think the game streaming replaces physical games? Where is this concept coming from? Is it coming from the DVD and movie space because it didn't do it there? Is it coming from the music space? No. So if it didn't happen in other mediums, why is it going to happen in video games? It makes no sense to me. The physical medium is not going away. You will always, in one form or another, be able to buy physical video games. It's never going away. Ever. Video games will never be solely reliant on the internet to exist. Certain games will, like Fortnite. But gaming on the whole will not be reliant on the internet to exist. Let's see here. PB says, physical editions are horseshit on PlayStation 4 and Xbox. I have to. Well, the reason you have to install, that's existed on PCs forever. You have to install because the discs don't, they can't read data off the disc fast enough. so they have to put it on the hard drive. Otherwise, your load times end up being insane. Nintendo got around this by using physical carts, but technically, the physical carts in Switch do not load as fast as the internal memory does. If you download a game to a really nice microSD card or to your internal storage on Switch, you'll notice the load times are infinitely better than they are on physical. But they're fast enough on physical that most third parties are still willing, that are willing to make games for Switch anyways, are willing to put them on carts. Because the read speeds are good enough. That's Nintendo's way of combating against the having to install every game. I don't think having to install every game is a big issue. I've been doing it on PC for decades. But I get that, and I've argued this before, it does take away some of the convenience of home consoles. Because part of what made home consoles great was convenience, right? It's put the disc in and play. And it's not really that way anymore. So now you're just paying for boxes that are cheaper than PCs in some regards to play games that you could just play on PC with the same methods. That's just me, though. Not everyone wants to mess around with the convenience of OSs and all that stuff as well. Like on Windows, like some games you got to fiddle around with settings and things. For a lot of games now, it's really easy because your computer will automatically set things up for you. But there's drivers sometimes issues, and it's not as smooth as like an Xbox and PlayStation. You put the disc in, you install it, you download the update sometimes because you have to, and then you play. And that's still technically smoother than a lot of PC experiences. Destiny 2 came. Yeah, dude, doesn't that suck that some companies are doing that, where you can get like a physical box, but then like it's just a download code? I hate that. I also hate like the bundles. Like we're giving away a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Switch bundle that has a digital code for Smash. Like, why couldn't they put a physical copy in the box? Why? Well, I mean, they're releasing the system before the game comes out, so that's part of the reason. But if they delayed the system until, December 6th, why? I mean, the bottom line is they want the bundle out before Black Friday. That's why they're doing it. But I mean, come on. It's true of everything. Like, in any bundled game you get with Switch is just a download code. Unless you get, like, a separate bundle where, like, it's at Best Buy and you get, like, buy a Switch and then pick out any 2 games. Those can be physical. But those are up to retailers. Those aren't up to Nintendo doing that. Let me see here. The vinyls are a thing now. Yeah, even vinyls came back, right? Like CDs replaced vinyls. Tapes kind of replaced vinyls first and then CDs. And now vinyls are back. So, like, physical is not going anywhere. That's kind of my point. Physical medium for video games isn't going anywhere. It's just not. Dynamic Kirby says, nothing wrong with streaming as an option. I completely agree with you. Look at digital. Without it, we wouldn't have got all these amazing indie games. That too. There's a benefit, too. Indie developers could actually benefit from this a lot. They could go for more ambitious games without worrying about digital storefronts and get higher profit margins. That's kind of... I didn't really focus on indies because I think indies will be slow. Will be the slowest ones to convert to streaming. I think AAA is more likely to support it before indies, but yeah. Like, it's an option. As an option, I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why people are so scared. It feels like people are scared. Why are we so scared? Is it because of the world we live in? Is it because the world's a scary place? Is it because everyone seems to always be scared of the unknown? Am I the only one that gets excited by the unknown? I love the unknown. Can be scary at times, but sometimes it's that fear that makes it so exciting. Because what if streaming video games isn't as bad as you think it is? What if it ends up being awesome? What if it ends up making video games more affordable for everyone? Sure, you can still buy physical, but what if? What if it ends up being a great service? What if it leads to Switch improving in ways that you didn't expect? Better online infrastructure for the Nintendo Switch Online service, as an example. What if internet speeds get better? What if competition for internet, monopolies for internet lessen and lessen because of video game streaming? What if things get better? No one wants to think about that. They just want to think, well, in today's world, I can't do it. Sure, you can't, but others can. Some people can't afford a car. Does that mean other people shouldn't own a car? Granted, it's a little different because a car is pretty much available everywhere. Sometimes you don't want to own a car. Sometimes public transport's better. But I think you get my point. I know, not the greatest of comparisons. But I'm basically saying just because you can't have it doesn't mean someone else shouldn't. That's akin to like growing up. I had the last bowl of ice cream. There's no more ice cream at the store. My sister can't have ice cream. Ergo, I shouldn't have ice cream. But I bought that ice cream. I paid for that ice cream. I enjoyed that ice cream. My sister can't. Sorry, sucks. That's life. Life's not fair. Some people can't download digital games because they don't have internet at all. They can't download updates to games because they don't have internet at all. Is it fair they can't get access to the most indie games? No. But the indie games also wouldn't exist if the digital medium wasn't there. A give and take. Can't miss what you don't know exists. You don't have internet. If they don't have internet, they probably don't even know about indie games. They only know what's available at stores. Good for them. And they probably have internet anyways. My thing is, most people that own video game consoles have internet, bare minimum, through their cell phone providers. So, like, most of what we're talking about here, especially, like, we're online right now. If you're watching this live stream at 1080p, you probably have fast enough internet to game stream in some form. I'm just letting you know that right now. Game streaming only takes, like, 15 down to do it well. As long as you're not throttled. Throttling's a thing. I hate when that happens. Even my ISP, with the speeds I get throttled sometimes. They don't throttle. They throttle. They know they throttle. Sometimes they can't help it because it's just there's too many connections. Like during peak hours, the reason it happens isn't because they're doing it to you. It's because there's too many people congesting the lines. But it is what it is. I don't have to worry about it because I have the fastest internet in my neighborhood. So I kind of get priority. So when I'm throttled, I'm still faster than everybody else in my neighborhood. My throttle just takes me down to slightly higher internet than everyone else has. And I usually don't even notice it. I notice it with uploads. When I'm uploading videos is when I notice it more. When my upload speeds are throttled. Let's see here. I think the fear for Switch specifically is to not get specific versions is still very valid. It takes a lot of resources and effort to change a game to make it run on Switch. It doesn't though. Because here's the thing. What you have to remember, Switch in particular is the worst argument to make for game streaming not to exist because it's portable. Because it is portable, if you don't make your game in a physical and or digital download form for Switch, you're going to be missing out on over half of the Switch's audience that isn't going to be using the streaming service on their TV. You are minimizing your market on Switch. If your game is capable to run on Switch in some form, if it's capable to do that, if it's affordable enough to do that to sell enough copies, you are purposely missing out on sales by not doing it. That's why that's not going to be an issue for Switch. I can see it being an issue on PlayStation 4 and Xbox. I do not see this being an issue on Switch because there is such a large chunk of the audience that needs that game readily available all the time. Now, again, there's cases like with Odyssey where the game's just not going to be on Switch because the engine's incompatible, and to make the engine compatible would cost millions and millions and millions of dollars before they can even worry about porting the game. So there's special use cases like that where it's just not coming either way. But it doesn't have to be that way for every game. Doom Eternal should still come physically and digitally on Switch if they want to reach a majority of the audience. Like, the fact that game streaming would be such a small audience in the first place is proof that they're not just going to abandon physical for that. So I don't think it's a valid concern. Switch especially, because so many people play it on the go. Not a valid concern. All it's going to do is give us an option for certain games that we can't already get. Because of whatever, spec reasons, whatever the case might be. Resources. Resources can be a big thing too, especially for like the kind of middling studios, not like the big AAAs, but like the ones that are kind of between AAA and indie. Like those studios might not have the resources to get it ported to the Switch. But heck, maybe game streaming can end up giving them the money to eventually port it to the Switch. Might be a late port, but hey, better than no port, which is probably the alternative. I prefer physical because I actually have my game forever, not for 6 months. That's great. And a lot of people buy their physical games and then sell them a month later when they have their maximum resale value because they beat the game and they're done with it. Everyone's different. That's why options are so good on the marketplace, because everyone is different. More options is always a positive. Always a positive. You're forgetting the cost of an ISP that will allow this without limitations for most people. They have 2 to 4 max ISPs in their area, and most of them are garbage except for one if you're lucky. So, what's your point? It's an option. Guys, we're talking about an optional way to deliver video games. Why does everyone acting like this is mandatory? Oh, I don't have fast enough. Who cares? Then don't use it. Don't use it. If Assassin's Creed Odyssey was available right now on my Switch to play, and I can enjoy it because I have fast enough internet and you can't, oh fucking well. Who gives a shit? Who really cares that you can't enjoy it because you don't have fast enough internet? Because it's not coming to Switch anyways. It's not coming to Switch, physical or digital anyways. Literally not coming to the platform. So who cares if I can play it physically or play it over streams and you can't? Who cares? Because right now nobody can in the United States. Literally nobody can. So who cares? You shouldn't care. Are you jealous I have faster internet than you? Fine, be jealous I have faster internet than you. And if I have faster internet than you, then shouldn't I reap the benefits of having a faster internet? Shouldn't I get the services that need faster internet? Absolutely. Guess what? I could download games and updates faster than you can. Who cares? Again, it sounds like jealousy. You don't have to do it. You want to play Assassin's Creed physically? Go buy the systems it's on and play it. Giving other people an option doesn't hurt you. It does not hurt you. People need to get past this. Game streaming does not hurt you as a consumer. It does not. If you are unable to do it, you're in no pain because of it, because the alternative is you're not getting some of these games anyways. It doesn't change the availability of the games, is what I'm saying. Let me see. And you're lucky enough to have fiber in your area, speaking from a privileged point of view. 1, I don't have fiber in my area. I already talked about that. 2, we're all playing video games. We're all privileged. I don't know if this is lost on people. The fact that we can even have these debates about video games in general means we're all privileged. The fact you're able to watch this live stream, you're privileged. We're all privileged. Believe it or not, doesn't matter your race, doesn't matter your color, doesn't matter your religion, doesn't matter anything. If you have the money to afford internet and be watching this live stream and play video games, you're privileged. Some of us are more privileged than others. Some of us have better access than others. Some of us make more money. A lot of you watching make way the hell more money than I do. And maybe I still have better internet than you because you just don't have that available in your area. But we're all privileged. This is an optional entertainment medium. Optional. All entertainment mediums are optional. Video games especially. We're in one of the most expensive entertainment mediums. Did you know that video games is one of the most expensive? It's cheaper to go to the movie theater 3 times a month than it is to buy 3 video games. Like, you want to buy 3 brand new AAA video games on your system. You want to buy Sterling Battle for Alpha, Super Mario Party, and I don't know, even say you want to go back and get Octopath Traveler. You're going to be spending nearly $200 to do that. Nearly $200. I can go to 3 movies for $30. If I add popcorn and stuff on, maybe it pops up to $50. Still, it's cheaper than $200. And yeah, you only get to watch it once. Yeah, and I'm probably only going to play through the games once anyways. We're all privileged. Some of us more than others. Optional entertainment, super expensive medium. Super expensive medium. When like people complain that, oh man, a new Switch model comes next year, I'm done with the Switch. Why? Why are you done? Are you done with your cell phone because new cell phones come out every year? Are you done with your TV because a new model comes out every year? Are you done with whatever streaming service you're using because a new streaming service launched next year? Are you done watching movies? Are you done watching the OG Star Wars movies because new Star Wars movies come out? Like, it's such an asinine argument. You don't have to buy it. No one's making you buy the new Switch if it comes out. No one's making you stream video games even if you can. No one's twisting your arm to do this stuff. You have a choice. The fact that you have a choice makes us privileged. Video games is a super expensive medium. No one has to buy the latest and greatest. You know how many people are still rocking OG Xboxes and PlayStation 4s and don't own an S and don't own a Pro and don't own an X? Millions. Millions. Because you have an option. You don't have to get the latest and greatest. You don't need a Samsung Galaxy Note 9. You might be rocking a Note 5 still. You're probably just as happy with your device as I am. Talking about privilege. Jeez. Privilege in the most expensive medium in the world where we're all privileged. Because we can afford to be in this medium in the first place. Video games are a first world entertainment medium. The most expensive in the world. The most expensive. The fact we're even talking about it, that you have the ability to watch a live stream of it in the middle of the day on a, Tuesday. You're privileged. And that's okay. I don't fault you for being privileged. You shouldn't fault me for it either. It's not a fault. We're lucky to live where we live. We're lucky to make the money we make. We're lucky to have the amenities we have. That's just life. It's not fair. I wish it was, but it's not, and we know it's not. And if you think this is such a big deal, go to a third world country that has no internet at all. Go live in a place where you're lucky to have a roof over your head. Go live in a country where you have to walk 15 miles just to get a glass of water. We're all privileged. The fact you're here today, you're privileged. And it's okay that you're privileged. There's nothing wrong with that. But you shouldn't complain because somebody else has something you don't. That's what sucks about being privileged. We take what we already have because someone has something better than us, we take what we have for granted. Yeah, there are people with bigger homes, nicer cars. Well, both my cars are broken right now. Bigger homes, running cars, working cars, and like awesome, amazing stuff that I don't have. I'm not jealous of it. I'm happy with what I got. And game streaming is not going to change what I have. It's not going to change what you have. You don't have fast enough internet to game stream? Then don't use it. It's not going to affect you. It does not affect you. Do you understand this? So you can't play Assassin's Creed Odyssey on your Switch. Okay. Guess what? Nobody outside of Japan can play Assassin's Creed Odyssey on their Switch. At all. Because it doesn't exist. It doesn't negatively impact you. It can make you jealous, I guess. But that's a you problem. It's not my problem. Even if I couldn't run these games, even if I couldn't game stream, which I wouldn't be a YouTuber because that means I don't have fast enough internet to be a YouTuber. But even if I was you and I don't have fast enough internet. I got one decent provider. It's expensive. By the way, I only do have one decent provider. Everyone else is DSL, which sucks. I have one cable internet provider. So I'm in that area. And I do pay. I pay $100 a month for my internet. You know why? I value the speeds I get. I value it. I don't have to pay $100. I can pay 10 and have 12 megabyte down and like 5 up DSL. I can. And for a lot of people, that would be fine. For me, it's not. I choose to spend my hard-earned money on faster internet. I can't get any faster than I currently have. That sucks. That's a limitation of a monopoly, but I choose it. Now, if I didn't have that choice, it would suck, sure. But you know what I do have a choice of? I can move. If I want fiber, I know where fiber's at. There are rural areas in this country that have fiber. I can move. I can go get a different job and move. Like, no one's forced to stay where they are. No one's twisting your arm, unless you're a kid. That's obviously bound to your parents. No one's twisting your arm as an adult to be like, you need to stay here. No. Most of our career choices are available all over the country. Most of our ability to work is still there. Like if I want fiber, I can move to the area that has fiber. I could do it. It's a pain. I don't want to do it, but I could. I'm choosing not to, but I could because I like where I live. I like my neighborhood. I like my neighbors. I like this area. To me, those are things I value more than having fiber internet. But I could go get it if I want it. I could move my whole family, not even that far away, within an hour's drive and have fiber internet. I just don't care. I don't care enough. So again, just because somebody can maybe do something I can't doesn't mean it shouldn't exist. When I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to watch rated R movies. Movie theater wouldn't let me in. Can't do it. Not old enough. Doesn't mean they shouldn't exist. Just because I can't enjoy it. Other people are allowed to enjoy things that I can't. Other things are allowed to enjoy things you can't. Welcome to the way the world works. There are people that don't have internet at all. Or the only internet they have is limited data caps through their phone. It's just the way the world works. You don't like it, go to where you don't have to deal with it. That's always an option. And I know it's hard financially, this and that. People do it all the time. You can make it work. You just don't want to go through the pains, the trials, the tribulations, the effort to do it because it's hard. It would be hard to uproot my family and move. Even within town, it's hard to uproot my family and move. So yeah, it would be hard to uproot my family, change schools, change all, like doing all that is hard. It's not impossible. I just don't value like fiber internet at so much that I want to uproot everything to go have fiber. It would make my work easier. I'd probably make more money. I'd be able to get videos out faster. It would benefit me immensely to have fiber internet. Don't really care. It's not worth the other things I give up. I like the school my kids are in. I like my neighborhood. I like my neighbors. Yeah, I could like other schools and I can like other neighbors, but I'm comfortable here. I like it here. So we're going to stay here. Someday I'll probably move down south a bit. I get a little tired of 9 months of winter and snow, but you know, I've kind of adjusted to it because I've been dealing with that my whole life. PB says that's true, although the idea of brick and mortar is more of a we have this available right now. Yeah, like that's the whole point. That's the only reason retail still exists is, well, I mean, it's going to exist for groceries always. But the reason it still exists for things like for products is because, yeah, some people have that gotta have it now mentality, right? Like when people go out on Black Friday to go shopping, it's because they gotta have it now. You know, you can wait till Cyber Monday. Heck, a lot of the Black Friday deals are available online. You don't have to leave your house. But a lot of people want it now. They want it now. Plus, they always have like those flash sales that are only available in store from like 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. or whatever. Let me see. Kind of has gone away, makes me not. Yeah, like I buy a lot of things off Amazon. I mean, I bought diapers off Amazon. I still buy diapers locally once in a while because like gotta have them sometimes. You run out, like I can't wait 2 days. I'm out of diapers. I gotta go to the store. But when I plan ahead of time, sure, you can get them cheaper online. It's smarter a lot of times to buy stuff online. The only downfall is the cardboard. So much cardboard. We've broken down all of our boxes, but man, there's a lot of cardboard. I'm slowly getting it out to recycling, but God, the amount of cardboard we have in this house is crazy. I probably have enough to make all of my own homemade Labo kits, like thousands of them. I should just perforate my cardboard and make homemade Labo kits and sell them on the street. Hey, anyone want some extra cardboard for your Labo kit? I have perforated the edges for you already. Come buy them, $5 a bundle. I recycle, obviously, so I believe in recycling, especially paper products. I always believe in recycling paper products because it's not bad for the environment when they break them down to repurpose them into more cardboard or more paper. It's actually not bad for the environment. Some of the plastics and how they break them down, there's some arguments on if it's bad for the environment, and that's gonna depend on which company is doing your recycling, because some will do it environment friendly, some won't give a crap, and then there's emissions. But that's research you should do on your own for whatever company you use for recycling. I wish that there was better regulations on that stuff. I know recycling can be expensive for some of these companies, but it's worth the price. It's always worth the price. Just like it is worth the price to make cars better. You are forgetting one major thing. You are comparing music, movies, etc. to hardware that evolves monthly. Streaming means you could use the same device indefinitely. Sure does. Again, it's an option. Here's the thing. What I'm comparing here, you know, when you're talking about movies and music, to things like, how do I put it? Video games and video game hardware. Has streaming of music stopped people from buying new phones every year? I mean, let's be honest. The majority of people use their phones for streaming and movies and music. Has that stopped people from releasing new versions of this every year and buying them in the millions? Has it stopped computer hardware from progressing? Has it stopped video game consoles from progressing, which also can play movies and music? Heck, you know what's awesome out there? While there's cheaper options for DVD players and Blu-ray players, there's also super expensive options that have a lot of features that aren't included on the cheaper ones. And there's new versions of that releasing every year. Yeah, I have a 4K TV right here. You know what? There's still new 4K TVs coming out every month, every year. Like, technology doesn't stop because of streaming. It hasn't stopped. So why would it stop now? Because it makes your gaming hardware last longer? Guess what? There's still going to be new gaming hardware because there's still going to be physical games. There's still going to be advantages to having gaming hardware over just like a Roku stick. Guess what? I have 3 different Roku sticks in my house. 3 different generations. Every year there's a new generation. Every year the Roku stick gets a little better. Meaning my streaming gets a little better. Same's going to be true for video games. New hardware isn't going to go away. Movies and DVDs and movies and music hasn't stopped any other hardware medium that uses that stuff from advancing every year. It happens every year. Every year. We are getting upgrades at a higher volume than we get for video game consoles. Right now, video game consoles, we get a new one, what? Once every 3 years? Once every 6? Everything else is moving faster than that, and they have these streaming services. If anything, the scary part would be maybe gaming hardware upgrades faster. That would be the scarier part. That might be a downfall. Where you don't... Well, it's not really a downfall, because then you don't have to buy it. Right? You could just stick with your OG Switch and just stream, as you said. So hardware can last longer. Hasn't stopped people from buying new stuff. In fact, people might buy the new stuff because they want it in multiple rooms in their house. Why do I have 3 Rokus? I have different TVs in my house that aren't, well, I shouldn't say they're not smart capable. Like this TV up here is smart capable, but it doesn't have all the apps. Because only like, not all smart TVs have all of the various streaming apps and stuff. So that's why I get a Roku that has like literally everything. Heck, we have a Roku TV in my room, and I might buy a Roku stick for it because the Roku TV is so slow. It's so, that Roku TV. Newer Roku TVs aren't as slow. Again, a reason to upgrade your TV. Not going to, but a Blu-ray player doesn't evolve. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. If you don't think that there's a difference between a high-end Blu-ray player and a cheapie, you haven't experienced a high-end Blu-ray player. It's crazy. Did you know high-end Blu-ray players, you can insert your 4K Blu-ray? Well, first off, there's normal Blu-ray and there's 4K Blu-ray. There's a difference right there. And then on top of that, do you know high-end Blu-ray players, as you're playing your video, you could be playing that awesome, crisp 4K Blu-ray, that amazing picture quality you can't even get over streaming. You could be doing that, and while it's doing that, it's actually downloading the movie to the actual Blu-ray player. And that way you don't need to stick that disc in again to enjoy. It's just always available for you now anywhere you hook up that Blu-ray player. That's not available on the cheapies. Again, hardware is always advancing. The fact that you don't notice the advancements doesn't mean they don't exist. Does not mean they don't exist. It means you don't care. You don't have to care. Some people want their OG. Some people want this Switch right here. Now they bought on March 3rd, 2017. They want this thing to last 10 years. You know what will help it last 10 years? Game streaming. You know what's not going to help it last 10 years? Physical games. Because that medium's always advancing. It's always getting better. You're going to need better hardware. You're going to need better this. You're going to need better that. Game streaming extends the life of your hardware, which is what everyone keeps telling me they want. They keep saying they want their devices to last longer. Especially in the video game space that's so expensive. Here's a path to that. But now we're against it. Now we want our devices to upgrade faster. I don't get it. You can't have it both ways. Man, you're lucky your folks are okay with you playing video games. Yeah, my parents are vehemently opposed. Vehemently opposed. They hate that I play games. They hate that my job is based around video games. They hate it. You know how much they think I'm wasting my life? Heck, maybe they're true. Maybe this YouTube thing never becomes more than what it is today. Maybe I'm just wasting away. But you know what? I love what I do. I love this live stream. I don't really make money on this live stream. This is a community thing, right? I don't have any super chats or any donations coming in. This is a community live stream. This is for the health of my community. That yes, I'd make money off you guys because you watch ads on videos and stuff or whatever, but that's irrelevant. I don't make money on this particular stream, but this stream's about the community. This is about addressing why so many people were disliking my video and misunderstanding my point. So many people telling me that this means physical games is going away when I literally addressed it at the very beginning of the video saying this does not mean that. You're just worried it's going to mean that. But we don't have any evidence in any other medium that that's going to happen at all, period. There's zero evidence that physical games are going away. Digital didn't kill physical, so why is game streaming? It's just not going to happen. Let's see here. Grizzly Mang, I already pay to play online. Now you're expecting people to pay to play games they don't even own. It's just more money these companies want. So, do you hate Netflix? Do you hate Hulu? Do you hate DirecTV Now? Do you hate anything, any service that requires extra payments on top of your internet connection? Do you hate them? That's a serious question. If you do, you make a valid point. If you don't, then your point's irrelevant. Because you're just okay with it in another space, but not with video games. Even though it's cheaper. What Xbox is doing with Game Pass, by the way, which isn't a streaming one, makes games cheaper. Makes them more accessible. Makes people spend less money on video games per year to get more games. More games for the money. That's why Netflix and everything blew up. It's more games, it's more movies, more shows for the money. It's pro-consumer. Believe it or not, it's actually pro-consumer. It could be that way for streaming games too. A Netflix for video games? Are you kidding me? Do you know how huge that would be? The trillions of dollars that would make? And why would it make that? Because it makes games affordable. Gaming is expensive, man. Just this year, I've probably spent thousands on video games. Thousands. Hey, we did make $5. Can't have this be no super chat Q&A. Thanks, Stark. There we go. So I did technically make some money on this live stream. Wasn't my plan. That's why I don't have any extra, like, oh, donate for to play music or this. Like, I don't have any of that up. This is just me, face cam, talking to you guys. Even Africa has good internet now, thanks to China. Parts of Africa, not all Africa. I see lots of people screaming facts. Are those people agreeing with me? It's true, bro. You're right. I still have the Xbox that came with Sunset Overdrive. Buck Bumble Essence facts. Hey, Buck Bumble Essence. I see you over on OJ stream sometimes. Go live in Kenya where Obama was born. Oh, jeez. Come on. I ain't bending the brim. This is meant to be flat. Freaking millennial. It sucks when people call me a millennial because I barely make the cutoff for being a millennial. I was born in '86. So like I'm barely at the cutoff to be one. I've always hated bent brims. You know why I hate the bent brims? They actually affect my eyesight. I have some that are bent. Like, look. Look, there's my Milwaukee Bucks hat. I'll wear it. It's fine. It's not actually blocking the sun any better than this was. In fact, with this, I can actually turn it so I can block the sun here. I can block the sun here, block it here. Maybe the sun's over here. I can block it. And you know what's awesome about this? I can do better dance moves with it. That's really the reason why I wear hats like this, because dance moves. Whoops, I got caught in my other hat. Yeah, dance moves. But I own hats that aren't like this. I don't always wear my hats cockeyed and off to the side. I just like it. And I've always liked it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm sure you wear certain clothes that I don't agree with. Who cares? You know? People want what they want and hate relax. I'm not even worked up. I'm not even worked up. Trust me. I'm alright. I'm enjoying the stream. K-Black Dragon, this idea of privilege is silly. No one should feel guilty about complaining about their hobby just because they live in a certain area of the world. Yeah, it's dumb. Nate is talking too much about the now, which is great, but we need to fight to make sure the physical option is always a thing. It's going to be a thing, though. That's the point I'm making. It's not going to go away. It's just not. I'm not thinking. That's not me in the now. When I say it's not going away, I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about in 20 years. I mentioned in the video, a decade, 2 decades from now, physical games are still going to exist. They're not going away. They're just not. We have a history that proves physical medium isn't going away. Hey, DN Megas Dan hits with $2 super chat. Thank you so much for the support. Here in my part of Australia, it's 60 plus for 3. Yeah, dude, Australia is tough. Australia sucks. But again, it's an option. It's not a replacement. I'm talking about game streaming as an option, not a replacement. You also spend a hell of a lot more on physical games too. Like, it's crazy. Australia hates video games. I wonder if that's why they don't give you better internet, because they hate video games so much they don't want anyone to even play them online. I hear you. Australia is weird because it's like a first world country that just hates the internet for some reason. Just hates it. It's terrible there. They hate video games even more. Hopefully, eventually, you get some government officials in that could change that for you, for everyone in Australia. I have a lot of people I know in Australia that are always complaining when they hit their data caps and that their speeds are just so slow, like even just browsing the internet. And I'm like, I'm sorry, man, that sucks to be in a first world country that has a government like that. People should not have to move from their home for internet. Well, here's the way I look at it, K Black Dragon. I want to live on a beach. I want to enjoy sunshine all the time. I don't want snow. I hate dealing with snow. But you know what I have to do to not deal with snow? To get sunshine on the beach all the time? I have to move. Like any convenience, any modern convenience, any desire, any possible dream of doing something that isn't available in your area, you gotta move. Say I want to work at IGN. Guess what? I gotta move. I can't live here and work at IGN. The reality is everyone deals with the pitfalls of where they live and having certain things not available to them. It's just the truth. Not every car in the world, like there's cars in Europe I love that aren't available in the United States. You know what I have to do to get one? Go to Europe. It's, again, this is part of that privileged attitude. It's, I shouldn't have to move to get something I want. But other people have to move to get something they want. So why can't you? If you want game streaming and fiber internet, move to where fiber internet and game streaming is possible. If you don't care about it, then who cares? Shouldn't have to move. Yeah, and I shouldn't have to move to get away from the snow, but I have to. I shouldn't have to move to enjoy the beach. I shouldn't have to move to get certain careers, but you have to. It's just life, man. And guess what? You probably still have internet. You're watching this stream right now. You still have internet. So you don't have to move for internet. You have it. And if you don't, here's the thing, and if you don't like game streaming, then don't do it. If you can't do it, then don't do it. Just like if you're in Australia and you can't watch, 1080p Netflix, then don't do it. No one's making you do it. Thanks, Brendan Renshaw. Brendan Renshaw hit us with that $5 super chat. Thanks so much, man. So just don't do it. It's pretty simple. You buy beef jerky on Amazon? Oh, dude, the teriyaki bacon jerky is so good. They've never even had... Well, shouldn't say that. There's one gas station in my area that's got teriyaki bacon once in a while. They get it from a local place that makes it. But they can only do it seasonally, apparently. Even though, pigs obviously exist all season. There's only like certain times of the season when they're, doing the slaughter and converting things to bacon and all that stuff. But man, teriyaki bacon's very good. Heck, they probably have teriyaki turkey bacon too. I should probably try that. It's a little healthier for you because it's leaner. You can't stand glass straws. They're supposed to be the alternative to the plastic straw. Yeah, there are glass straws. They're weird. Glass straws just feel weird. It's a texture thing for me. It just feels weird when I drink from a glass straw. I've seen them. I've enjoyed them. I've cracked them. Just finished a 10-page essay. Glad that's over. Yeah, glad that's over too. Hurts your teeth if it's sensitive and useless to disabled people. Well, yeah, disabled people shouldn't use glass straws in general. Like if they just bite too hard, it can cut things. Dragon Quest X offline version for the West is coming. I know I got to make some standalone videos today here too. Some news videos, Prime News, etc. Yeah, I see some other news out there I need to cover here soon. So we're going to be ending this stream here in a couple minutes. Just getting through the chat. Don't delete this stream. Keep it open. Why is that, Edward? So more people unlike my channel. I bet you during this stream I've lost a bunch of subs. I guarantee it. I always do. Anytime I have a stance that people don't agree with. Because people get... Like, it's fine if you don't agree with me and you hate this stuff, you know? But, like, I don't know. My stream is a 94% like ratio. Holy crud. That actually surprised me that my like ratio is that high. Maybe I didn't lose any subs. Well, I must have lost... I know I gained a sub earlier in the stream, so I lost one. But I gained one back. It's always interesting. Like, when Philip DeFranco or someone says something I don't agree with, it doesn't make me suddenly hate all the other content they make. People are so fickle about that sometimes. Oh my gosh, he said one thing I don't like. I better just unfollow and stop watching their content. Like, okay. It's not like I control whether game streaming happens, right? Like, I have no control over game streaming. Or if Nintendo does it. Zero control. It's just me stating my opinion. No one has to agree. I just haven't heard a good argument yet for why it shouldn't exist, because every argument that's been given works on all these presumptions that aren't based in facts. It's based in fear. This is why I hate chat versus live video. Only get to address partial points and selective comments. It's no fault on Nintendo Prime. It's just not. Oh yeah, streams are better for debates. Streams are always. That's why I took this. Like, I was going to make a response video to some of the comments. I'm like, you know what? I think this is something better that I just talk with you guys about, right? Just have this conversation. Keep it going. Because I think it's important it's an important conversation because gaming's going this way, whether we like it or not. It's very clear. Google's announced it. Xbox announced it. PlayStation already does it for retro games. It's coming. It's happening. This is a thing that's going to exist. Whether we want it to or not, it's coming. My only concern or only hope is that Nintendo doesn't miss the boat, because I'm worried that if this becomes something like a Netflix, if Nintendo's not part of it, I really worry about them. This is the kind of thing you want to be part of. This is why even DirecTV, despite being a satellite provider, and I know it's owned by AT&T now, but despite being a satellite provider, also has a streaming service. Don't miss the boat. You can do both. Actually, you need the newer iPhone to play the newer games. That's not a great example. You can have an iPhone 7 and play every single game that's on the App Store. There's not a single game on the App Store that will not work on an iPhone 7. iPhone 7 is, 3 years old now? 4 years old? You do not need the iPhone XS or the iPhone XS Max or the iPhone, XR? XC? Whatever they're calling the budget version. You don't need those phones to play the latest and greatest. Do you need one that's within the last 4 or 5 years? Sure. But you don't need the latest and greatest for any of the games on iPhone. I'll tell you that right now. And the people that want to play like the best of the best are such a small market. Edward Norton has with $2. Thank you so much, Ed. You don't have to, like, the consumer base that plays the latest and greatest phone games that require every little ounce of performance is such a minuscule audience. It's such a minute fraction of the people that own phones. That's why that stuff's not more popular. Anyways. Wait, the new Skyrim on iPhone X, who cares about that? Skyrim's on everything. Before long, it's going to be like on your smart fridges. People who have those. Oh, I got a smart fridge. Yeah, and you can play Skyrim on it. Skyrim's quickly becoming like Tetris. It's just on everything. A focus on cloud gaming takes away the focus from having the hardware to do it and advancing the hardware we have. It doesn't do that though. Because that's under the presumption that cloud gaming being a thing means that physical games is no longer a thing. And that's not the case. People are always going to care about owning a machine that plays video games locally in their house. Because just like with movies, the best way to enjoy a movie is locally over local hardware in your house, not over streams. Yeah, the mass consumer base might care more about streams, but the people that really want the best of the best, they have those 4K TVs at 120 hertz, and they're sitting there watching their 4K Blu-rays. on their Blu-ray players. That's what they're doing. It's not going to go away. It's just not. Just because Xbox is doing Project xCloud doesn't mean there's not a new Xbox coming, a new piece of hardware. Of course there is. PlayStation might advance their streaming to include all their PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games. Doesn't mean a PlayStation 5 is not going to exist. It's still going to be existing. The hardware's still going to be there. It's just not going anywhere. We've seen it proven with every other entertainment medium. The advancements are still being made. That's 100% small. Most average phones cannot handle PUBG or Fortnite. All the phones in the last 3 to 4 years can. And most people that have cell phone plans have it where they replace their phone every 2 years anyways. It's just, I think not everyone's that way. Some people are using like the cheapos, and they get what do they get? I'm trying to remember. Like Walmart has that service for $45 a month, whatever it is. Like some people do go that route, obviously. Enough people for those routes to exist. But options. You know what would make PUBG and Fortnite playable on all phones, though? Game streaming. The horror, game streaming on your phone. Your PS3 Blu-ray drive melted. Melted? That's weird. I have an OG PlayStation 3 upstairs that still plays Blu-rays. It's the only reason I still have it. It's a little finicky. Overheats sometimes. I got to be a bit careful, but... Thark says, not true, Nate. The Switch and cards can last 10 years. What does that have to do with anything? What does that... Thark, this is not me being upset at you. You said, not true, Nate. The Switch and cards can last 10 years. People play older games all the time. The Switch being portable keeps it going. What does that have to do with anything? Where did I say that's not true? I never said that's not true. I said a majority of consumers don't do that. That doesn't mean it's not true for some. And I never said that this game streaming doesn't replace that. That's the entire reason stuff like that's still going to exist. You're just providing reasons on why game streaming should exist. That's all you're doing, because you're proving why all the fears are a bunch of bollocks and no one should be worried about it. You're proving why the fears are baseless, because there's always reasons for physical medium to exist. Always. Game streaming does not replace the physical medium. It just doesn't. Digital almost replaces it better than streaming does, and digital didn't even replace it. You have the, wasn't it 60? I think my OG PlayStation 3 upstairs is a 60 gigabyte model. I don't think the 80 was the original. Maybe it was. I think they had two models. I think they had the 60 and the 80 at launch. Maybe. I'm trying to remember back when it was $599 USD. I don't remember. That was so long ago. I can't believe I still have that PlayStation 3. I literally cannot believe I still have that PlayStation 3. It plays PS2 games too. Back when Sony cared about backwards compatibility. Physical going away does remove folks. Again, this does not make physical go. Why is everyone... Oh, it's such a frustrating thing. It's so frustrating to have game streaming does not equal removal of physical games. So, like, physical going away does... I never talk... Where did I ever say physical is going away? When have I ever made a point? All I have made points for is defending why physical games are not going away. Why game streaming doesn't replace it. And I said that at the very beginning of my video I put up 9 hours ago. I said at the very beginning that game streaming does not replace physical games. Just like digital games do not replace physical games. This has been proven time and time again, both in the video game space and proven in other medias. Like, it's not going away. It doesn't replace. It's just another method of content delivery. Anyways. I'm not ashamed that I'm doing okay. It's fine for people to want more things. I agree with you. Go get what you want if you want it, but the internet is a big new thing in terms of info sharing, and people at this point should be able to have it no matter what. I agree with you, and I love your channel. I won't leave because I'm open-minded. It's okay. Like I said, people don't have to agree with me. I understand people hate... I knew when I put up that video it was going to have a really bad dislike-to-like ratio. I knew that. I knew comments were going to be littered with people that are just hating, because I've talked about game streaming before, and people just got pissed. But that's just, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. Even if streaming isn't the only option, streaming takes away the focus on it. It doesn't need to replace it to hurt it. No. Guys. Oh, this is so frustrating. You are fear-mongering over something that doesn't exist. Game streaming exists, by the way. It's already a thing. It's been around for a little while now. It's just going to become more popular. It's not... This is... The argument you're making is the exact same argument I heard people made about digital games. Digital games are going to destroy the physical medium. It's literally the same fear-mongering people did with digital games. And guess what? It didn't destroy anything. Oh, my God. Everyone's always worried about, oh, my gosh, worst-case scenario. Guys, it's coming anyways. Game streaming's coming. It's happening. You can't stop it. So instead of worrying about what the absolute worst possible fear-mongering thing can be, how about we actually look at real-world examples and how what you're worried about has never happened in the history of gaming. It's never happened in the history of any entertainment medium. It's never happened. So why are you so concerned about it happening now? Because it's the medium you enjoy most. That's what it is. People, like, audiophiles were worried about this with music. You know, movie files were worried about this with movies, with Netflix and everything. The same fear-mongering was happening then, and it turned out to not be worth it. It turned out to be wrong. And now, because it's happening to the medium you like the most, now you're doing the same fear-mongering everyone else was doing that has been proven time and time again to not be worth being afraid of. What you are worried about has never happened, and there's no pattern or history to say it's going to happen. Everything historically says physical games aren't going anywhere and aren't going to have less of a focus because games are available through streaming. Everything out there points to that data. But you're ignoring all of that so you can fearmonger because you're afraid of change. You're afraid of new things. This is the same reason the DualShock and the Xbox One controller haven't changed in decades. People are afraid of change. They don't want something, you know, they're afraid of new. Why did the Wii get so much flack from so many gamers? It's different. It's new. Didn't make traditional games and twin-stick games go away. The Wii didn't eliminate traditional games, and it's just... Oh, man. It's such a baseless argument. It's such a... if this happens, then this happens argument. When if this happens, it's been proven that doesn't happen. People are worried about the things they cannot control, and I understand. I worry about Nintendo on the daily. I worry that as much as is going to happen in the 2019 lineup for Switch looks absolutely amazing to me right now. Absolutely amazing. I don't think there's a single game coming to Switch that's exclusive that I'm aware of that makes me not excited. Everything coming to Switch next year looks like baller, man. It's exactly what I want. It's amazing. It's ultra. It's sweet. But what happens if those games aren't very good? Should I sit back and be like, what happens if Animal Crossing sucks and Fire Emblem sucks and the new generation of Pokemon sucks? What happens if all these games, I just don't enjoy them? What happens if no more new games get announced? What happens if this? What happens if Nintendo Switch's online service crashes and I can't play Splatoon anymore? I could sit here all day and worry about the what ifs and the possibilities of things going wrong and Switch becoming my most hated platform next year and me wondering what I'm doing with my life as a Nintendo YouTuber, and next thing you know, I become a PlayStation 5 YouTuber or something. I could worry about that crap all day long. Or I could be like, you know what? Maybe this isn't going to be so bad. Maybe the Nintendo Switch Online service is going to get better. Maybe they are going to eventually add Netflix. Maybe Animal Crossing might be the best Animal Crossing ever. Maybe the next Pokemon game next year is going to convert me from being someone who loved Let's Go to being someone who's now hardcore into traditional Pokemon. Maybe, just maybe, everything's going to be okay. Because more often than not, everything is. I was not excited about the lineup for this year, but you know what? Switch is still okay. It's still selling well. I'm still enjoying the games that have come out. I'm still having fun as a gamer. So we can sit there and focus on all the what ifs. What if things go bad? What if this? What if that? But what if they don't? And I think sometimes we spend so much focus, so much of our energy on what the negative could be, what the downside could be, but ignore that it doesn't have to be that way, right? It doesn't have to be. Things don't have to be what you fear they will be. They can be something completely different. We look historically. We look at the fact that all the reasons you bring up for why game streaming shouldn't exist are the exact reasons that physical games aren't going anywhere. You're making the argument for why we shouldn't be afraid. The arguments against game streaming are the same arguments on why we shouldn't be afraid of game streaming. But everyone wants to just presume the worst. Everyone wants to live in this alternate reality where everything is going to be bad because we fear it's going to be bad. And even if something ends up being bad, say you're ghastly afraid that Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee is going to be a bad game, and it ends up being a bad game and disappointing you, does that mean that everything else coming forward, does that mean the new generation of Pokemon is going to be bad and disappoint you? We can't live in this. There's so much negativity in the world. There really is. There's a lot of negativity. We're surrounded with it, right? I'm surrounded with it in my house at the time. My kids making me stress out and stuff. Like, that's all negative vibes to me, right? But we don't have to be that way. This is an entertainment medium. Why do we play games? Why do we play? Like, forget physical, forget digital, forget streaming, forget console wars and Switch and Xbox and PlayStation, gaming on your PC or on your phones. Why do we play games? Right? We play them to be entertained, right? That's the ultimate reason. We play them to have fun. We play them to be engaged. We play them to express ourselves. We play them to get away from what's happening around us, right? There's a zillion and one reason we play, but all of it basically boils down to we play them to enjoy something, to get something that we're not getting somewhere else, right? That's why we play games. Regardless of how the games are delivered to you, you can still get that, right? It can still exist. All those physical boxes back there, they're sweet to look at. But you think when I turn on my Switch, whether I'm popping in a cart or I'm loading up a game digitally, it changes my experience with the game? Do you think it changes how I feel about that game? Do you think if I play Octopath Traveler physically or digitally, it changes how I feel about Octopath Traveler? Same is true with game streaming. Ultimately, I think we forget why we play games. And I think we focus so much on the negatives, so much on the fear of something bad. I'm guilty of this too. That we ignore what could be good. What directions could happen that make things better for everyone. Oh, your internet's bad. Maybe game streaming helps internet service providers up their speeds without charging you more. Maybe it creates more competition in the field. You know what's so great about fiber? Fiber has made a lot of cable internet providers up their game. Made them provide the speeds they've been denying us. Because fiber exists. Fiber is creating competition. Fiber works around cable contracts because fiber isn't cable. Fiber is brand new lines that cable contracts cannot lock. Yes, a new deal with Comcast can block other cable providers for 10 years. It can't stop Google from coming in with fiber. It can't. Unless they provide a fiber line to your house. It can't stop them. It's illegal. In the United States anyways. Instead of being afraid of change, being afraid of the unknown, let's just enjoy what we have and let's be excited about where gaming's going. We are at a point in 2018 where gaming's more accessible than it's ever been, where I can play Fortnite on my damn phone. Not everyone can, but some can. That's just amazing to me. A full AAA style game. I can play it right here on my phone. What a crazy world we live in where that's possible. What a crazy world where I could play a full, fat, brand new, maybe the best game of all time on my Switch, on my big 4K TV, on this little 1080p, through live streams over the internet. I could take it with me on the go to the bathroom, on the train. What an amazing world we live in today with video games. It's truly stunning. And you're telling me there's a chance in the future that I could take a device like this that might be 5-10 years old at that point, and I could stream like the greatest Nintendo games ever without having to buy new hardware to my TV with this? Are you telling me that's a future that could exist? That to me sounds amazing. What if I hit a hard time financially and I can't buy a new system? Imagine a future where you don't have to worry about backwards compatibility anymore. Where you don't have to worry about always having the latest and greatest hardware. Like, to me, that's exciting. There's some cool things going on. And all of it still gives me games. Because ultimately, the hardware doesn't matter. Ultimately, what TV you're playing on doesn't matter. Ultimately, it doesn't matter if you buy the game physically, digitally, or you stream it. What matters is the games. And that gets lost so many times in conversations like this. So much spent on the negative, not enough focus on, man, video games, like what I get out of video games. The fact that I can escape in Breath of the Wild, the fact that I can like deal with some of my emotions and anger and sadness and other things I have through playing a game, that is an experience I want every person on this planet to be able to have. And if game streaming helps even one person get it that previously could not afford to have that experience, I'm all for it. Because they deserve it. They shouldn't be held back because they don't have the kind of money I do. They don't have the kind of money you do to buy new hardware, to buy $60 products plus DLC plus online services and stuff. But they do have internet. Right? They do have the money to go buy in 5 years, go buy this for like $100 at a used game store. And then they do have a spare $20 a month instead of $60 to get one game to play all these games. They do have that money. They just don't have the money to be in the medium like we want. Bringing this to more people, I think, is more important than anything else going on in this industry. Because regardless, you, me, and everyone else, we're still going to, regardless of what happens, all of us are still going to play games. Because we play games for the games, right? We know how important this space is. We know how important these games are. We know that just like with movies and music for some people, it's not just a little kid's game anymore for us, right? These games have meanings to us. When I sold my copy of Breath of the Wild 3 months ago, I nearly cried. I have an emotional connection to that game. It felt like I just sold off one of my own kids. So that's why when Two Holmes went out of his way and rebought the game for me and some of my other games like Odyssey and stuff like that, it's why I got like so emotional on the live stream when I started playing it again. Because it's like my long lost lover, my long lost child came back to me again. Because what that game has meant to me for my state of mental health. Yes, I have children. I have other things way more important than life in video games. No video game, movie, or music will ever be the most important thing in my life, and it never will be. I could have my entire house burned down and lose everything, but you know what? I'll be okay as long as my kids and my fiance are fine. But that doesn't mean there's not a value there to this entertainment medium. And the more people that get to enjoy that, the better. This is why I get so mad when people get mad about, this exclusive game that was on a platform once is now on everything. Who cares? Who cares? Let it be. Let more people enjoy that experience. If Breath of the Wild is on PlayStation 5, who gives a crap? Let more people enjoy that kind of game. Make it more accessible. Because ultimately, everyone deserves. Every person out there deserves to enjoy video games and get out of video games what we do. It'll make the world more understanding of the medium. And it'll make them more understanding of video games' place in culture. That it's not just a toy. That what Nintendo says about being a toy company is underselling what video games actually mean to people. Anyways, that's all I got to say. I got to head out. I got to go get some lunch. I got to shower. Still haven't showered yet today. I got to get some other videos out and some other content. But thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Whether you like it, whether you don't like it, you don't have to agree with me on game streaming. It's fine. I think it's coming either way. I don't know what Nintendo's going to do with it, but it's cool if you don't agree with me. Just know that I think sometimes we worry too much about the negatives, and we don't focus enough on what the positives might be in life. And I think there's times I think that it's okay to focus on some negatives. I've done it myself, but we need to balance life out, right? Like, look at the positives and look at the negatives. I did that earlier with GameFly. Here's the positives and here's the negatives. Some people are going to like it, some people aren't. So, that's life. All right, guys. Wow. Sorry, I was about to sign out, and then Lee the Ranger Barker is like, raise your voice. Isn't after it's too late. Dude, you sound like you work for EA. Wow. Does anything I just said sound like I work for EA? I mean, come on. I can't believe that's a real comment that just came out. I don't remember EA ever talking like me. EA would say things like SimCity isn't an always online game, but then you can't play SimCity unless you're online. At least at the time. They released a patch eventually where you don't have to be online. But the SimCity is not an always online game. But if you're not on the internet, you can't play it. So it's an always online game. That they just blatantly lie to your face. Anyways. All right. I didn't read the last couple super chats. Let me get to those quick. Did I miss them? I was kind of getting into my own headspace there and getting some emotions out here. Brandon said, do you think developers will continue to spend money to optimize games when they could make one version and send them to all platforms to stream? Yes, they will. They'll continue to optimize the games for specific platforms. The thing that might happen with streaming, and this is something that maybe you're not going to like, is games might come out on a streaming service before it comes out physically. That happens with movies and music sometimes too. But it'll still come out. Because they'll just, because like you have to understand, it's another revenue source, right? That revenue source is going to afford them the ability to take their time and do it right. Maybe that means we actually get games that release on platforms that aren't buggy as hell and require massive day one patches. Maybe it fixes that, right? That would be a cool way. Like, whoa, it fixed it? Sweet. I think that could be a positive, actually. I think they'll continue to spend money to optimize games because there's too much money to be made in the physical and digital space. Too much money. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar business already. They're not going to just abandon billions of dollars. So they're still going to do it. Keep it open because you talk good game. We'll see. I don't know how many people are going to make it to the end, but maybe I should cut out my speech at the end. Release its own video. Maybe you guys can let me know that in the comments. I'll send this video live once YouTube's done with it. And you guys can let me know if you want me to cut off that speech at the end and kind of present it as its own thing. I might not do the face cam for it though because I don't know if I want all the chats showing up. I don't know. We'll see. I liked my speech at the end. That was off the cusp, too. It's cool. I like when I get an off-the-cusp speech like that I don't even have to think that hard about. It's just expressing myself. All right. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.